Hey everyone, welcome to Danny Chats. This is episode number 37, and today I am joined by Vicki. Vicki is another transplant patient. She has had a double lung and heart transplant. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes, and it was fairly recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, last summer, last June, I think I can say. Yeah.
I was following you on Instagram before your transplant, so I followed you through your sort of bit of your journey.
Yeah.
Matt, so how did that all start for you? How did the health issues start for you?
So I got officially diagnosed in like 2017, but I probably needed diagnosing a few years earlier, kind of thing, really. So I was getting breathless, and I was complaining to the doctors and stuff, and they kind of just thought I was unfit and had anxiety and things. So they was encouraging me to get fit and treating me for anxiety. Very successfully, the anxiety thing, really, because I booked a flight to Vietnam, went to Vietnam, and it was there when I was like, this isn't anxiety, this is something, there's something wrong here. So I flew back home, and the doctor ran some few extra tests and things. He was like, but I do think it is anxiety. So maybe in me, I was like, well, I'm off to Cardiff then, because I'm not letting anxiety rule my life. So I went to visit friends, and it was a Friday evening. About 6 o'clock, I had like 5 missed calls off my doctor, and then he even texted me his like personal mobile and was like, I need you to phone me right now. So I did that, and he was like, I'm quite concerned. I think you might be at risk of a blood clot or something from the flight. So he sent me to the hospital. And then they measured my oxygen stats, and they were in the 60s. So, of course, the oxygen mask was straight on, and I was in resus, and they was just doing all the tests on my heart and things, where they found I had a hole in my heart.
Wow.
Yeah, which I was born with, but it was undetected until this point, where it was in heart failure. So, yeah.
Wow. So, you've just sort of been on this holiday, and then all of a sudden you're in hospital and you've been told, you've got a hole in your heart. So
yeah.
What did they say to you? What was their sort of plan of action for you then?
So they ran more tests, and then they discovered I had pulmonary hypertension as well, which is a lung condition. And then they didn't really know what to do, so they was like Googling pulmonary hypertension specialists. And they found one in Sheffield, and they got in contact with Sheffield, and Sheffield was happy to take me. But I was on 12 litres of oxygen at this point, so they couldn't get me there by ambulance, so they flew me in the air ambulance, which was quite exciting and scary. But yeah. And then when I got there, they was like, there was a total different like atmosphere change. Like I was in the coronary care unit in Cardiff, so I like had one-on-one nursing. It was all very intense. They wouldn't let me stand up and things. And then once I got to the specialist centre, they was like, right, we're going to give you this drug, and you're going to live a relatively normal life. They took the oxygen off, and they let me walk around and stuff. So it was like a total tempo change, and I was like, oh, maybe I am going to be all right now. Yeah.
It's been a bit of a relief.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So how long was you there for?
I was in Cardiff for a week, and then I was in Sheffield for another week. So yeah, not too long really.
And Cardiff's not your hometown, right?
No. Yeah. So I'm in Lincolnshire.
That must have been quite scary to be away from your hometown and everything, away from family and friends, and to be in that hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I phoned my mum straight away, and she drove down straight away, and they let her stay with me in the hospital and things. So that was good. But yeah, it was like
Quite a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So then, how did things progress from there?
I was quite stable for 2 years. I was still quite breathless and everything. And then I was in Sheffield for a routine checkup. I did my walking test, and I sat back down, and I was like, yeah, no, I've gone downhill massively. And yeah, and then they agreed, and they was like, right, we need to put you on the final treatment we have available for pulmonary hypertension, because that's all they treated me for, was the pulmonary hypertension, because the heart was too far gone, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, and that was when they put the Hickman line in, and then I had 24 hours IV medication for almost 2 years. So yeah.
What did that consist of? Is that you were constantly on a drip?
Yeah, so similar to what I've got now. I had like a little box like this. This is for my nose thing at the moment. But yeah, and I just used to have to carry that around all the time, and it was just in here with where my scar is and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I had to change that every day. It was a right faff, to be honest with you. You have to carry it everywhere, but it kept me going for that while longer that I needed. So.
Yeah, that must be incredibly sort of daunting to be told you've got to carry that around with you.
Yeah.
But I know at the same time as sort of going through medical things, you kind of just have to deal with it, and you adapt and you make it part of your life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you soon get used to it, kind of thing. But yeah, initially,
how did all this affect your social life and things at the time?
Oh yeah, I didn't really have one, to be honest with you. Only my close friends really. I really made effort to go out with and stuff, because well, I didn't feel well. And then when you go out, I'm wearing oxygen, I've got this pump thing, you know, I can just feel everyone looking at me, and I just, you know, it's like, I wasn't too worried, but at the same time, it's like, oh, can't really be bothered with it, you know. So
of course, I totally understand how that must be.
Yeah.
So then you were there, and then how did it progress from there again? Sorry.
So then when they put me on the IV drip, they was like, right, Papworth was like, okay, now it is the time. We're going to have you in for assessment.
Okay.
And then the pandemic hit. So
yes.
So I was going to get assessed for my transplant in the March, so just before just after the lockdown happened, and then I had to wait until August to finally get assessed. But luckily they got me in quick and assessed and on the list in a matter of days, really. So that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So the process of getting you sort of sorted once COVID had gone. But I mean, with COVID as well, you didn't know how long that was going to last, did you? So you just there's no definite date, which is horrible.
Yeah, no, I just fully accepted that I was either going to catch COVID or not last long enough for the transplant. I was fully like, just make the most of every day, because I don't feel like I've got a lot more days in me, kind of thing. So yeah.
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 Scary for most people.
You
know, such a critical condition. It must have been petrifying, like, and the isolation must have been sort of really intense, really.
Yeah, it wasn't, because it's kind of how my life was, you know, really. So it wasn't too much of a shock to me. In a way, it was kind of a relief, because I was like, oh, no one's making me go out and things. And in hindsight, it probably protected me from seeing a decline in my health, because obviously I was just in my house. I wasn't really pushing myself, so I probably didn't notice any further declines, kind of things. But yeah. I would say that there definitely was more declines, but just yeah. I was just happy in denial, in isolation, I guess. Yeah.
And how long was you on the list for? Because I think this is roughly, I think I started following you around this time when you were, I think it was just before you got put on the list, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I hadn't long been sharing my story on Instagram before I got on the list, to be honest. So yeah, I think it was 8 months, you know, so a very short amount of time. They told me a 2-year wait, so of course when the phone rang, I was like, oh, it's gonna be all right. First one never happens, does it? So yeah, but no, I was really lucky, and it was the first call and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And then what was the process from there?
So I got the call. It was like in the evening. I think it was 11:15 or something. Yeah. So they came and picked me up in the ambulance car, drove me down. And I basically just slept the whole way there in the car, which I think that's testament to how ill I was, because yeah, I slept, and then they got me in the hospital bed and stuff. And when I imagined this call coming in, I was imagining having like deep and meaningful chats with Mum, like telling her everything I needed to, and I just slept the whole way through. So yeah, yeah, yeah. And they kept coming in and being like, you know, so far the tests are looking good, but we're not like 100% sure yet. And I was like so thirsty. I was like, oh, make your decision soon, please. And I kept saying to Mum, yeah, it's win-win really. If I get my transplant today, or Love Island starts tonight. So, you know, so sad, I know.
Love Island.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, it's a win-win situation for me. But obviously it was a mega win because I got the transplant. So yeah.
Can you remember, obviously, I mean, I don't fully remember how long my operation was, but can you remember how long the operation was?
Yeah, it was I think it was 13 hours, they said. Yeah.
That's big to do lungs and heart.
Yeah, they say it's actually simpler than doing heart or lungs separately, because obviously they don't have to attach the heart and the lungs together because they're already attached. So they just, I don't know, just attach your esophagus, I guess. I don't know.
Like a kit form.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And did you, by any chance, get any photos or see what the old heart was like?
No, I didn't. I wish I did, but you know, you don't. Your brain just goes, oh, shit. Like you forget everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the first thing you think of, obviously.
No. Yeah, I wish I had them.
Yeah. And then, how was the recovery for you? Obviously, I mean, I would say you're still early in your recovery process.
Yeah. I genuinely can't believe how smooth it's gone. I had one little bout of rejection, which well, the high steroids was not good for me. Like, I'm sure anyone who's been on them knows the emotional, like 1 minute you're like dancing around, the next minute you're in floods of tears. It's hard. But apart from that, yeah, it's been plain sailing. Touch wood, it continues. But yeah, yeah, very lucky.
I think everyone struggles with the steroids.
Yeah.
Either one way or another, like night terrors or emotions and
yeah.
everything else. And I know through following your Instagram, which I was really, really pleased for you as well, is you've got a job recently.
Yeah. And what was that? Sorry.
You started back at work, which is
great.
great.
Yeah, I've been there 2 weeks now, and yeah, so third week, and I already needed 2 days off for hospital appointments. So
that's gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been really understanding and stuff, and they was like, oh, you've got quite a career gap. What's this about? And I was like, oh well, I had a transplant. Yeah, so they knew what they was getting into, really. So yeah.
Yeah, I always worried about that when I was applying for jobs after my transplant, was, you know, whether they would look at that as like, oh, this guy's going to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But obviously, always the case. Maybe it was just me overthinking things as well.
No, I was the same. I was like, oh, it's going to be so hard to get a job. I'm never going to get a job. And then, you know, it just happened. So yeah. It's
a really cool job as well. It's a job in something that you're really passionate about, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's with the Woodland Trust, and it's in the head office, and yeah, I'm very into the environment and everything. So I couldn't have sometimes, like I think I mentioned in my Instagram stories, when things are just going so well, you're like, oh, am I still alive? This is too good to be true, kind of thing. And it definitely, that kind of adds into it, because like this is what I wanted to do, you know.
Yeah. I was really, really pleased when I see that you had that interview and then that you got the job, because you know, it's all things that you kind of dream of as well before your transplant. It's just being getting back to doing what everyone else sort of does, really. Yeah,
it still like blows my mind, kind of thing. I'm like, oh, I'm living a normal life. I didn't think this was gonna happen, you know. Yeah.
And just to talk about, because you mentioned on our messages just before this chat that the tube in your nose, did you say that was for like a study or?
Yeah, so it's a P for pH, so the stomach acid and stuff. So I don't know if it's I think it's a lung transplant thing. Whereas you can get like acid reflux and then it can damage your lungs. So obviously this is in there measuring the acid, and then depending on the results, they either like do an operation to twist your stomach to stop it coming up so much, or you're fine. Yeah. So.
And how long have you got to wear that for? Is that a case of going back to the hospital in days?
Yeah, I go back tomorrow and they pull it out tomorrow, so I can't wait already. Yeah. Hats off to anyone that has these in. Not very nice.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to not have anything like that, apart from obviously during the operation and after. I think the worst thing, because medication you become very used to taking, so that's not. I think the worst thing for me was I was having to inject into my stomach to take these blood thinners.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Same time every day, so even if you're out somewhere, you'd have to go to the toilets to do it, which the first few times you're like, oh, this is a bit grim, but
yeah. I had diabetes for a little while as well, so I had to do the insulin job, but luckily that's gone now, so yeah.
Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
Cleared up. That's really. So what are your plans for the future? Would you like to get back out traveling again?
Yeah, I'd love to get out traveling. So next on the list is I'm going to climb Snowdonia to mark the 1 year. So yeah, that's next. And then I'm coming up to a year. So they say hopefully they'll approve me to go abroad. And then I'll get a passport renewed and that. And then I don't know, world's my oyster, I guess. Yeah.
I was going to go and do Snowdonia with my 1 year, but it was in lockdown, so
oh no,
end up going. So yeah, but that's a wicked thing to do, just for just you've climbed mountains.
Yeah, exactly. Let's climb a real one now. Yeah.
Traveling again would be great. Like, did you enjoy it in Vietnam?
I did, yeah. I really enjoyed it, and that's why when when the doctor was like, I think it was anxiety, I was like, it was not. I was having a great time out there. I just felt like I was dying, like yeah. So I am excited to go back traveling. Yeah, it'll be different now though, because obviously before you just stay in any old hostel and eat whatever you want, isn't it? And like now you have to be a bit more careful, I guess. Yeah.
I definitely thought that when I went over to Panama recently, like just a bit more cautious about what I was eating and where I was eating, what I was doing. Whereas in Thailand, before my operation, I was eating all the bugs, I was eating everything and anything. Like
yeah.
But it's definitely still doable. Like holidays are still achievable after transplant, which is great. That was something that I really worried about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And so what medication are you on, just to finish this off?
So I take Adaport, prednisolone, Myfenax, and omeprazole, and pravastatin, and a metoclopramide as well. Yeah. So
you've got a few tablets at the moment.
Yeah, a little concoction. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully you get to the point where you don't have to take the prednisolone.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm on 5 now, so I'm not doing too bad, but I don't know if they have any more plans to get rid of it or not. Yeah.
It took me a while because they just reduce the dosage, don't they? So it took me a while to come off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Vicky. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, same. Nice to meet you.
Face to face as well, rather than Instagram. And hopefully we'll get to meet up somewhere sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'll let you get on with your evening.
Yeah, and you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.